All right, so we're going to talk about Ripple, XRP, talk about 4 different things, and then we're going to come to a conclusion. If you've been watching my channel, you know I just try to educate, not try to convince you to buy or not buy. As of the filming of this, I actually own some, and I've done a playlist with multiple videos on the topic. I always have to say, my disclaimer, I'm a big dummy animal, don't do what I do, informational purposes only. So let's get started into Ripple and XRP, why it's one of the top 10 market cap. It's been around since 2012. There's articles all the time about it, and let's talk about that for a moment. I'll put a playlist down below because I put all of my XRP Ripple videos in one. For example, if I want to point some of them out, this one I think is worth watching, XRP and Ripple Explained. If you don't know the difference between XRP and Ripple and what Ripple does and how it operates, that's one that goes into great detail. I whiteboarded it out. Then I did another one regarding the price where I put up a hypothesis that, hey, at some point, XRP price might just stabilize and never change. And then I've got that one's worth watching. Now, the other videos, if you're interested, okay, but this one says, are you being lied to? There's 3 videos about XRP predictions. The reason I started all of this is because the more I dug into it, the more I got a little frustrated constantly seeing articles that just said, you're a dummy if you don't buy it. You don't need to know anything about it. You just need to go ahead and invest in it. And by the way, it's going to get to $1,000 a coin. There's articles like that, which is something like $60 trillion. And that's going to happen in this bull run, which ends in about 8 to 12 months. Well, that didn't sit well with me because I didn't really believe it. I like to see reasons as to why you might think something will go somewhere. And that's what we're going to talk about. But for example, there's a bunch of articles about how Elon Musk talked about XRP. And then if you watch the clip, he didn't. Someone asked him a question about it. And then he didn't ever mention XRP. He just talked about cryptocurrency. That was misleading. There's another article that said all the big banks have adopted XRP, the cryptocurrency. You read the article and you realize that's not what the article is about. It was about the fact that Ripple had a new service that they were unveiling. Okay, so some of this can be a little misleading. Do your own research. But watch and listen to what I've got here today, because some of this you may know, some you may not know. Again, not trying to persuade, just trying to educate as best possible. All right, so let's get started. First of the 4 things, let's just talk about the company itself, originally named OpenCoin in 2012. 2013, it got its first, or one of its rounds of funding, may have been the first angel round, but they had some seed. We'll talk about funding later. So in 2013, they raised money from investors like Andreessen Horowitz and others. You might know that name because Andreessen was one of the first that created founders of Netscape, the browser. Okay, that was 2013. Then in 2013, OpenCoin changed their name to Ripple Labs. Then in 2015, Ripple Labs changed the name to Ripple. Okay. So it's been operating since 2012, and from what I can see, their desire to create cross-border payment system has been since the very beginning. So in other words, their vision and their mission and what they've been embarking to do hasn't changed over that time. I think that's very positive. But they've been around since this is 2024 when I'm making this video, November 24. They've been around doing this for 12 years. All right, now, that was the first thing, just the company itself. Let's talk about funding rounds. I looked at many different sites, but we'll look at Wikipedia here. But also there's another article that I referenced about it has some funding information in it as well. But if you look here, from what I could find, and I found other articles validating this, so it looks like this is all correct. April 2013, they got an angel round, like I mentioned, $2.5 million. 2013 angel round, $3 million. 2013, a seed round, $3.5 million. Okay, that's 9 million. You'll see that referenced as their angel and seed of 9 million in articles. Now, their biggest one was their Series A. 2015, 28 million. Then another one of 4 million. And I found an article that said, yep, 32 million Series A. So that looks valid. Series B, 2016, 55 million. Series C, 2019, 200 million, for a total of 296 million. And when they received the 200 million, they said that it was valued around 10 billion. So in other words, when you raise money, It's either pre or post raise, but they have to put a valuation on it so they know what price they're essentially buying that stock at. Now, what we're going to talk about are some of XRP's sales. So 296 million or 300 million is a lot of money, obviously. It's not a lot compared to what they've sold in XRP, but it is a lot. What does that tell you? I'm not implying anything, but that tells you that there's $300 million worth of investors, although some of those are gone, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But that means there's $300 million that have been put into this company, and I don't think they want to lose that money. Now, prepare to be thoroughly confused. Here's what's interesting, is that from what I could find, it said that investors in Ripple receive both shares of the company and allocations of XRP. If you've been following the SEC case, they're talking about whether or not XRP was being sold as a security. Well, I didn't look into and haven't found how much or what allocations they received, but I did see online, and I looked up some articles in ChatGPT, that yes, the early investors received both stock in the Ripple company, because when a company receives investment, they're selling either their common stock or they're selling some preferred stock. And that's how the investors receive a share of the company. However, it looks like they also received shares of XRP. So I think that's where it gets to be a little confusing. The investors want to make money in two different ways. They want the cryptocurrency, XRP, to go up in value. And then they also want Ripple, the company, to have some sort of an event like going public so they can sell their shares and become liquid, or being purchased, some sort of merger acquisition so they can become liquid. So that's where it gets a little confusing as to who has what. And that is what determines their particular motivations in terms of how they market the company and or the cryptocurrency. That's just an aside. Let's continue. These investors obviously want to make money, and it's interesting the way you see some of these articles out there. And I'm not saying these articles are put out by Ripple or have anything to do with that. It may just be that they put out press releases, and if you've ever used a press release service, those press releases go out all over the place. All kinds of bots and things pick them up and just print them on websites. So I'm not saying that the fact that a lot of articles come out with the same information on the same day with, oh, someone says Ripple's going to be $1,000. I'm not saying they're doing that on purpose, but now we know how long the company's been around, 12 years. We know how much they've raised, 300 million. And we know that it's come from many, many different investors. I think I saw an article said the total was maybe 98 investors. So it's possible that 98 venture funds have XRP. So there's a reason why they need it to succeed. Okay. So the first sale was, I believe, 2012. Fixed amount, as you know. I'm not telling you something you don't know. 100 billion. Ripple kept 80 billion of the XRP. Remember, Ripple is a private company. XRP is the cryptocurrency. Ripple holds XRP on its balance sheet in an escrow. And they use it for their operations. I think they've given some away. They might use it to help fund, I think, other companies that will build things using XRP. They originally put aside 55 billion. You've heard me talk about this before, in escrow, with the idea that they could release $1 billion a month. I think this happened, 2017. So $1 billion a month would be 55 months, which is just over 4.5 years. And if they did that every month, it would be out in 2021. They didn't do that. They didn't release $100 billion. They can do up to. And then if they don't release, they can put it back into escrow and they tack it on to the end. So they have an amount coming out every month. And if they don't use part of this, they can just tack it on over here. And that's what they've done. So from what I could find, they said it looks like they've pushed it off to 2027. And of the 55 billion in escrow, I think they've had 43 billion left. But also, know this, they started with 80 billion. So they've sold, and these numbers are rough because every article I read is a little different. And of course, the information changes month to month as they release some, sell some, and escrow some. But they've been releasing about the same amount in terms of what they're selling over time. So they're not selling it all. They're escrowing more, but eventually they say by 2027 they will have gotten rid of all of it. If they've sold about 40 billion, and I used ChatGPT to go back over time, and so that over time it came up with an average of 28 cents ever since the first XRP was sold. I don't know how valid that is, but let's just call it a quarter. So if you've got 40 billion sold at around a quarter, it's $10 billion. So theoretically, they've sold 10 billion worth and used it for things like partnerships and operations and you name it. That's a lot compared to the 300 million they raised. So quick advertisement. I created this school community. Link down below, $25 a month or pay for a year and get 2 months free. As you can see, we have communities for organizing crypto and discussions. And if you appreciate fundamental analysis and want to keep up to date, then this is the place for you. I'm hoping for like-minded people to have discussions with. I'm adding courses all the time, from debanking to staking. Put your crypto in an IRA for tax advantages, you name it. Whether you consider yourself new or advanced, there is something for everyone. And you will find content here that is not on YouTube, as well as some videos posted in the community before they're even live on YouTube. You get them first. Now, there was an interesting article here I want to point out about November 1st. This is November 4th when you're seeing this, I believe. And they said Ripple's largest XRP sell-off in 7 years. Yeah, published November 2nd. Their largest sell-off in 7 years. It says Ripple has reserved an unprecedented 470 million XRP for sale. Largest dump in 7 years. They call us a dump. I don't know if they have to say dump. It's a sale. By saying dump, it makes it sound like they're doing something they shouldn't be doing and they're dumping on the market. And it drives me crazy the way they write these titles. November has ushered in unexpected turbulence. Okay, there's no turbulence. As Ripple takes a dramatic step, again, my gosh, by reserving 470 million XRP for sale. Just say that. Marking the largest monthly dump in 7 years. The substantial sell-off concerns about the pension. Okay, so forget the language they're using. It's valid. They say that on November 1st, they deviated from their usual escrow pattern, meaning they usually reserve 200 million XRP from the 1 billion unlocked each month. But this month, an additional 270 million were sent to Ripple. Oh, an additional on top of the 200. So it's usually 200. Now it's 470. And it went to the account that's designated for monthly sales. They go in to speculate why they did that because of the SEC case and other things. But I just wanted to point out that they can do any amount they want up to that 1 billion. And they've deviated a little bit. Is that positive? Is it negative? I don't know in terms of what they're using it for, but they've done more. So they can do up to 1 billion. All right, so now we know they've been around since 2012. They got about 300 million worth of investment. They might have up to 100 different investors. They've sold about $10 billion worth. Last time they raised money, they were around the $10 or $11 billion valuation. Then what I found was interesting. One more thing, and this is about investor buyback. So this is the fourth thing I wanted to talk about. I just found this, but this happened in January of 2024. I'm sure if you follow Ripple and XRP, you already know this. I didn't. So it said Ripple Labs was buying back, it's Ripple. When was this done? 2024. Okay. Is buying back 285 million worth of stock. Wow. From early investors and employees, allowing owners to sell up to 6% of their stake, which values at the moment the company at 11 billion. That was back in January. Ripple confirmed the buyback to Reuters, CEO stating that Ripple has $1 billion in cash and 25 billion in crypto. Right, because they have about 50 billion in escrow. At the current market rate of about 50 cents, 50 billion is 25 billion. Okay. They have $1 billion cash, 25 billion in crypto. By the way, what's interesting is you can see here they said that they're doing a buyback and the company's valued at 11 billion. Did you pick up on this? Yet they have $1 billion in cash and 25 billion in crypto. So they have 26 billion in assets, yet they're only valued at 11 billion. Now that's not uncommon, but what does that mean? It means that theoretically, if you had the money, you could buy them for 11 billion, shut down their operations, fire everyone, and then sell 25 billion worth of crypto. Of course, you couldn't dump it all. The price would die. Wouldn't be worth anything. But you get the idea. It's odd that they actually have a valuation less than the money and the cash on their balance sheet. But there it is. Don't know what that says one way or the other. Again, I'm not telling you to buy it or not. Just pointing this out. Now, what's interesting is if we scroll down here, here's the big chunk of it. They talk about early Ripple investors, and this is what I was mentioning. Angel and seed 9 million. Yeah, we validated that. Series A 32 million. Yep, it was a 28 and a 4. Series B 55 million. Series C 200 million 2019. But check this out. This is not the first time Ripple has bought back stock. In early 2022, it repurchased its Series C 200 million funding. The 200 million funding, which originally valued the business at 10 billion back then. For the repurchase, Ripple used a valuation of 15 billion. Okay. So they put in at 10, they got a repurchase of 15, they made 50% on their money. I guess they got $300 million. So they're probably happy. They got 50%, although they wanted it to have a lot more. But listen to this. The company had a nasty falling out with the lead Series C investor, Tetragon, who wanted out after the SEC sued Ripple. And apparently there was a clause in the contract that said it would trigger a buyback if indeed the determination was that XRP was a security. So this $200 million investor or investors, that round, they're gone. That's interesting. Now, the other interesting thing to note is that this is what it says it was about. Who knows what it was about? It could be, pure speculation, that it was something else, that they weren't executing on the business, that things aren't going the way they thought it was going to go. I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. So now we know that that particular 200 million worth of investment is out. All right. Been around for 12 years. We looked at all the funding. We've mentioned, if you look at my playlist, I just describe how it works. The fact that it might just stable coin out. People comment all the time, give more information to me. Some just say I'm an idiot, that sort of thing. That's totally fine. I don't really have an opinion on this video except for this. And this is, where was it? Forbes. The Forbes USA I couldn't pull up. So I pulled up the Forbes India version. Same thing. And this was where Forbes said in April that XRP was what they called a zombie crypto. In terms of global money flows, not much is going on at Ripple Labs. This was written back in April. Few expect it to ever disrupt the banking cooperative known as SWIFT that facilitates 5 trillion every day. If you look at most of the reasons people are talking about XRP taking off, they talk about, and in some of those articles where they say it's going to be $100 or $1,000, they're basically saying it's going to take over all of Swift's business. I put out an episode that I guess people skimmed through because I said in the episode, I don't think it's going to do those kind of numbers because I don't think it's going to get all the business. And I think it's going to have competitors. And people thought I was crazy. It's not going to have competitors and just going to get all the business. I disagree with that. Ripple's blockchain, a ledger of XRP transactions, continues to hum along. They say it's largely useless. The XRP is around 36 billion. That's a total market cap. Now they say this, and I don't know where they got this, but last year, Ripple's XRP ledger earned a mere $583,000 in processing transactions across its network. That would give it a price to sales ratio of basically 62,000. They point out that Nvidia's price to sales is 37. So they call it a crypto zombie. All right. That's pretty interesting. And they talk about the fact that it's got, 24 billion worth of XRP tokens at the moment. So what's my take on this? Well, I'll tell you this. If we look at XRP, it's around 50 cents. Let's play devil's advocate and the angel side as well. And that is, let's just assume for the moment that all of these layer one cryptos or those in this market cap realm are essentially the same. Forget Bitcoin. The ones that are trying to provide a solution to something. If we say the top 20 or so are essentially doing the same thing, one says it's a little faster, one says it's a little more secure. They've got their advantages. And there are some that are very different. But let's just assume for the moment that it's apples to apples. If we take that assumption, one could argue that XRP is going to win and win big. Why? Because they have $24 billion worth of crypto, and they're selling it every month, which means they have the most resources. They can hire the best people. From marketing to sales to engineering, no one can hire and pay more than them. Not only can they give cash, but they can give XRP. Okay, it would, or they're a public company, private company, they can give stock as well. They have a lot of options. So the people that join can make quite a bit of money. They've got all the resources in the world compared to the other crypto. They should dominate. They should win. Everyone else is going to die. That's on one side. The flip side is, they're providing a very specific solution for a particular niche. Lately, they've been talking about providing services to hold crypto on the behalf of others. They had a name for it, secure something. They're also talking about how it can be used for tokenization. And I understand that, but primarily cross-border payment, that's what they've been going after for 12 years with 300 million plus the sales of almost another 11 billion over the years. So they've been burning through quite a bit of money, which might be the reason that they're valued at around 10 billion, even though they have 25 billion. Because people look at it and say, well, yeah, but you're burning through that. If you have a high burn rate and your revenue isn't paying that, okay. So that would be the negative side. Look, they haven't been able to do it. And they're not making a dent. And they're burning through all this money, and it's a lot of money. On the other hand, someone might say, all this crypto is just totally speculative. So many of these have billion-dollar market caps and 0 transactions, or plenty of transactions, but not much in fees. Or the only fees they have are from meme coins or DeFi or whatever it may be. Yes, crypto is incredibly speculative. So how do I fall out on this? I'm not increasing the amount I have in XRP. It is not a large percentage of my holdings. It's very small. I have no reason to sell it or not, or sell it or not sell it. It doesn't make a difference to me. I'm not a huge bag holder. To me, my gut, I feel like from all the things I've seen and all the articles I've seen, all the information I've seen, I personally think it's not going to do that well. If I made a comment to someone about, a rising tide lifts all boats. So could it get to $2 or $3 if we have a huge bull run? Maybe so. Do I think this is a 10, a 20, a 30, a 40, a 50, a 100x? Personally, I don't. And I may eat those words, and all of you that hate me and you're in the XRP army are going to say I'm a moron. But everything I see says, and my gut tells me, maybe it hits 2 or 3, but it's just going to tank and never come really to any fruition. That if you're talking about opportunity cost and you said to me, do you want to put more money into XRP or would you rather put more money somewhere else and maybe to Hedera or ICP? And you can say, well, those don't have any transactions and they're not doing that much and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get it. But personally, I'm not increasing my tiny little Ziploc bag of XRP. Hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Again, I'm just trying to do the research for my own self, and hopefully it helps you as well. I hope, quite honestly, even all of you that think I'm a big idiot, I hope you all make money. And I hope you all make generational wealth in crypto. Have a great day.